last episode, we had the pleasure of interviewing Bob Juracek from Canada, who was telling us about the transition he's made of going from established business to using online strategies. In this episode, we got the pleasure of interviewing Dave Crane, who's a celebrity here within the region, and also the owner and founder of Life Designers. Dave, welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you again, Reg. Wonderful, thank you.
What's great about your brand, Dave, is you've been here in the region, 16 years?
Something like that, yes.
Here in Dubai, in the UAE, and you've got this great brand. Everyone knows you. You do all sorts of gigs and presentations, from hypnotic shows to hosting the Rugby Sevens every year in front of millions of people. And you've got a stable business, but yet here you are still wanting to learn and grow and find out how you can marry that or integrate with the online world. Could you tell us a bit about what you've been through with Life Designers and the transition that you've made?
Absolutely.
And where you're at?
As the Life Designers came about because I'd been a hypnotherapist working with many people. The usual things that a hypnotist does is people want to stop smoking, lose weight, deal with childhood issues, get over stress, all these various things. And I added life coaching to it, but then I found out that the official life coaches don't allow you to use hypnosis or NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, as part of the way that they coach.
Why is that?
I don't know, because I can only surmise that it comes from the fact that the guys who set the rules and set the organisations together don't do hypnosis or NLP, therefore they don't teach it, so they just don't have it as part of the portfolio, which to me seemed very silly, because depending on who you're dealing with, some people need to have one tool or one technique, or some need another, or you put an amalgamation of things together and make it work with them. And so for me, you're designing a perfect life for somebody. You're not just coaching them. Coaching is all about getting a person to understand from themselves how to move forward. But sometimes they don't know, and sometimes they need help designing it.
Sure.
You bring a designer into the house, you want them to be an expert. So they do all the stuff, and you go, I don't like this, I do like this, and they create it for you.
Dave, I love the concept of Life Designers, and what jumps into my head, things that you're saying, is about interior designer, life designer. Is that how you ended up with this name?
It came about because I worked with a number of organisations about working with them as a coach and bringing in hypnosis and lots of other things, and they weren't having any of it. And I won't allow anyone to say no to me. If somebody says we don't like what you do, then that's their opinion. But when they say you can't do it, what they really mean is they can't do it. So when they said that you can't use all these other things to help people, I said, you know what, I'll just do it myself. So I created Life Design as a product, designed it to bring in all the different elements that can really help people, and the end result was something that was unique. And also, the actual term Life Design is quite a sexy brand name. It elevates itself higher than just coaching or mentoring or any of the other things that you get normally in the market.
Absolutely.
And so, the name sells itself when it comes to working with corporate groups.
So
and
you've taken all that experience and then put it into that one brand.
Yeah.
So the branding's clear. Your business model at the moment, before we talk about the online side, for Life Designers is made up of what elements?
It's got a combination of things. Very much about creating the ability for people to look out for themselves. It's about giving people the ability to start, well, obviously designing their own perfect life. Now that means creating a mindset that's different. It means often shaking off the cultural and national bonds and bounds that would have you, the boundaries that you grow up with, saying you must be a certain way, you must go to this school, you must behave that way, you must do what everyone else does.
And is that done one-to-one or in a group setting?
Normally it gets done, I do individual life design sessions, but normally it gets done as a big group, because everybody who's there can take it all in, because what they hear you say, they interpret into their own way and put together in a way that they can move forward with it. And it's quite enlightening when you do it. I mean, for instance, doing some work recently with some schools, I had a room full of primary school teachers, and I asked them a question: do you think it's more important to work with people's strengths or work with people's weaknesses? And every single one believed that weaknesses are more important, because obviously it's about getting the kids to a certain grade. But then when they leave school, they end up with an average education, but nothing they specialise in, getting an average job that they hate, and they never get a chance to move into what they really want to do until they walk away. And that usually means becoming unemployed for a little while, certainly stepping away from everybody else, and then maybe you'll be fortunate to get the niche within your lifetime that you really want.
That sort of makes a lot of sense. So with the business model, you've got one-to-one elements of life designers that you do.
Absolutely.
There'll be a group setting, and you've got products as well.
I've written a number of books on life design now, which are and CDs. I've got CDs in the shops, and videos as well. I mean, as a stage hypnotist, you always get people wondering what happens when you do it on stage, and when you show them that it's the same thing that goes into reprogramming yourself as goes into creating these amazing effects on a stage show.
Yes.
Then everybody wants to be able to do it for themselves. And so it's, after a number of years of preparing it and having a great success, moving all around the world, working with lots of different companies, I want to now franchise it so people can do it for themselves in any country and be able to call themselves life designers.
Okay, so it's like a certification of some type.
Absolutely. They can license it and they can train people. So whether they're a life coach or whether they're even a human resources manager in a company that wants to be able to pick and choose the next generation of leader by giving them a course that will allow them to understand more about the people around them, which is basically how you design your life. So that's where it's heading.
So there's a whole portfolio of products and services within the Life Designer brand.
Yeah.
Someone who's watching this could relate to that. It's a business. You may be running a table furniture type business. You could have a florist. In your case, it could be a life designing business. Okay, that's a business. Now, how do we integrate that with online to generate more revenue? So what have you been through in the last 12 months of going down this path?
The last 12 months have been a complete revelation because I like to do new things until I get to a level of very good stroke excellence, and then I get bored and I want to do something else. I love new challenges, and so with the life design I loved everything that I've done. In fact, I still do. I mean, once you start getting into self-improvement, it becomes addictive and fascinating. But when I sat there in front of all these guys last year talking about how to create an online business, I had no idea what they were talking about, but I knew I wanted some of that. One of the things that occurred to me is not only were they very creative, but also they were very normal. There wasn't anybody that made me think, I can never be like that. And that's one of the things I loved about the online business model. Even to a point where some people turned around and said, you know what, I don't do any of this. I bring in people who do it for me, and I just concentrate on my core businesses.
So what are the steps that you've taken then?
For me, it was very simple. I just needed to get more of what everybody had. And being based in the UAE made it very difficult because there isn't a community out here, or there hasn't been previously a community that you could work with. It doesn't have to be a community because ultimately being online means you can have friends in any given country, but there's nothing to compare to having a coffee with somebody and just going down a list of questions and sharing ideas like that. And so myself and my wife, we threw ourselves into the whole process, reading books, going on courses, and looking at ways of monetizing the whole process. Now, you have to learn from the very beginning, so it takes a long, long time. In our case, it did, because we weren't reinventing the shape of a wheel. Well, we might have been to other people's, but we were seeing the wheel for the first time, because there's no community to bounce off. And so we made a lot of what would be called mistakes, but they were part of our learning curve, to take what was before a one-on-one learning experience into something where people can learn one-on-one without me having to be there. And online allows you to do that by having a website with a video, with downloads and running as assignments or courses. People can be effectively attending your seminars without you having to be there, and they can grow at their own pace. They don't even have to step away from their normal job. If they can do a normal 9-to-5 job, but on a weekend or on an evening, then we catch up with all the seminars and all the assignments that you give them. And for me, that became very exciting. For most people, the idea of becoming an online marketer, certainly setting up passive earning, means that you can give up having to work. I never want to give up having to work. But I've deliberately stopped doing things I hate. I love what I do, and I never want to retire. So online gives you the ability to, yes, create passive earning, because the formula is you can create more money for you to be able to spend more time on giving to people without having to worry about paying bills by creating an online model, but you are also able to reach more people by doing it online. And that's what
I think it's really clear what you've said, and I can understand that transition. So just to repeat, you've taken that traditional business, but now somebody in Toronto or London or Bahrain or Mumbai, doesn't matter where they are, can now get a piece of Life Design brand and the different products without without you physically being there.
Absolutely.
And in some cases you may be involved, but you're not physically there. In other cases it could be things that are automated or running without you ever being involved. And that's where you're at.
Absolutely.
Is that right? Okay.
You can reach all the people you need to reach online by having a teleseminar or a webinar, or you have assignments and e-classes. And sometimes we do boot camps where people can come along and learn firsthand in front of me what life design is all about. But you don't have to do it that way, which is why you can reach a much bigger crowd worldwide who all join your community, and I find that fascinating.
Dave, just to really conclude with our interview, I wish I could spend more time with you, but where do you see it going now for the future, not only for your business and online, but where do you see some of the trends? What's your opinion on online business and technology?
I think that in order to step up to where the rest of the world is going, certainly in this region, online it's a grey area. But what we also have is it's a flat area. It doesn't realise it needs to be online. And so it's going to take a lot of people to shake it up and do exciting things here before people buy into it, and some people still won't. But certainly for anybody who really wants to have job security, anybody who wants to live in a country where they choose as opposed to chasing where the work is, and for my brand, designing their perfect life, I think it's an essential part of it. Whether you decide that you want to still have a job and do some part-time stuff online, or you want to throw yourself into it completely and have an online model, doing what you love and sharing that with the community, who you can find anywhere to come to you about what they love doing as well, I think is a perfect medium for doing that.
Great.
It hasn't been explored yet, not to the level that it's going to be, but I think the amount of people that are taking in the Facebook, Twitter, all the other social media, and Google Wave, which is going to be huge for everybody as well, just goes to prove how big that demand is. But most people don't know yet how to either turn it into money or turn it into ways that help their life. And I think the more that grows, the more exciting it's going to become.
So we're just at the beginning, really.
I think so, definitely.
So if people want more information about Dave Crane, Life Designer brand, your product, where do they go?
Just go online, very
What's
simple.
What's the website?
If you're interested in joining me to learn about doing life design, go to thelifedesignacademy.com. That's the thelifedesignacademy.com. If you want to know more about just becoming a life designer and the sort of things that we do with the hypnosis shows, stopping smoking, all the different areas like that, then just come and join us with thelifedesigners.com. And from there, we'll help you out with everything.
These are the two main websites. So the first site could be really good for someone who's not sure about what they want to do, but they may be considering going into the coaching field, but looking for a brand that already exists.
Absolutely.
That could be good for them as well.
And in fact, there's a news site called happybirthdayx.com. Happybirthdayx.com. If it's your birthday, or even if it's not your birthday, you want to cheat, but you want to get an insight into life design and that birthday feeling where, I can do anything today, and most people think about it like a New Year's resolution, but don't actually do anything about it. You can get a free book from there. You can download and decide whether you want to go further with it or not. And that's the beauty of it. Online, you can provide gifts for people where they can just go from there and pretend it's a perfect birthday. So happybirthday.com is not happybirthdayx.com is not a bad place to start.
Happybirthdayx.com. Well, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
No doubt we'll see you again on UPO, and look forward to seeing you in action in many other events in the Middle East. Dave Crane, once again, thank you.
Thank you, Reg. Really, thank you.